the Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra-biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. All right. Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Ricard Shiar here with our weekly update. Our weekly update before transitioning over to Patreon for our loyal Patreon members. As you can see, it's week 4 of the Hebrew and Bible Academy. This week we'll be going into a topic, a serious topic. Who is Edom? Who is Edom? Satan's agents. That's right. Satan's agents. Who is Edom? Satan's agents. Who are the nation? What is the nation biblically, according to prophecy, Satan would use in these end days to come after the children of God? Well, that and more will be in store for you this particular weekend within the Hebrew and Bible Academy. We're going to also go into some Jewish literature that might interest a lot of you concerning Jacob and Esau. Some Jewish literature, legends of the Jews, that highlights the fact that within synagogues today, it is taught who's Edom. All right. But yet, theologians refuse to divulge that information to Christians and those who believe in Christ. Why? Well, that and more will be discussed in our Hebrew and Bible Academy week 4. Who is Edom? That's right, Satan's agents. Now, if this interests you, the only thing you would need to do to be a part of this is go to historytimes.org. Historytimes.org. Go there. All right. Historytimes.org. It's that simple. Enroll. And even though it's week 4, don't worry about it. You'll receive the 3 prior weeks in your email to catch up, to be right on point with us for week 4. Hebrew, news, as well as a serious lesson that's conveniently sent, all of this in your email. One-stop shopping, you click the button and what? You're in class with us. We have a brand new setup for the studio thanks to all your support, and I can't wait for Sunday to show it off. So please, if this interests you, go to historytimes.org to enroll. And on top of that, yes, backed by popular demand, you can also now download the video to your platform to view at any time for your convenience. So it's only what, $75 for the first month, $75 for the second month, and that covers the full 3-month enrollment. Okay. Also, we're going to be touching on in this academy secrets of the times and can families survive. Now, So please, if this interests you, come on in. A lot of people are still coming in. Or some people think that, well, hold up, we're in week 4. I'll just wait for the next one because, you know, I've missed so much. I don't know if I can get in because they've started already. No, we are keeping enrollments open. So don't worry about that. You can still enroll. You'll get the prior weeks and to catch up for week 4 because you don't want to miss the real-time news that's getting discussed there. Okay? Do me a favor. They say it's a hissing sound. If you may, Truman, for a moment, please mute your mic for 1 second. Just mute your mic. Just mute your mic until it's on Skype. It's the microphone in front of you. Just hit it and it'll click with a line and it'll just, right? You see on Skype where your picture is on your Skype? There's a microphone there. Just click the line there. All right, okay. All right, great. All right, so that should work out there. Okay, is the hissing gone? Because I want to make sure the information is conveyed with no issue here. Okay, it's loud and clear. Great. Thank you. Okay, on top of that, speaking of the news, okay, Elder Dell say it sounds clear, so I'm not going to, deal with the technical issues. Dell say it's still okay. All right, let's do this. All right, well. All right, let me come back because obviously there's something wrong here. So, hey, Truman, I'll bring you back in a moment, okay? I'll bring you back. Okay. All right, it's gone now, right? The sound is gone. Right? It should be fine. The sound should be fine at this point. All right. It should be fine. It should be fine. I disconnected the phone so that the sound could. All right. It's all clear now. So when I get Truman Berst back, I'll make sure there's some type of clarity on his line. Okay, I apologize for that because I have Truman waiting in the wings. So let's go. We have the Hebrew and Bible Academy week 4, and I'm going to also be diving into the current news between Russia and the Ukraine. This information or this particular conflict isn't anything new in the earth. They've been in conflict since almost 2014, even before that, 2004. All right. It's just that with the coronavirus and being news all day, every day, we seldom heard any news for the last 2 years outside of that. Okay. So it isn't anything new that's going on with the Ukraine. But in a nutshell, I'm going to be touching on it in the academy. What's going on is regime change, similar to what happened in Egypt. When after Mubarak was arrested, the Western world, NATO, began to put their own people in place for the interests of NATO. Well, that happened once the USSR was dissolved. They had the Western world, America, Israel, other nations aligned, had a proxy person in position that Russia, Putin, deems compromises their security. Okay? Because if you have an adjoining country that was once a part of your country, a part of NATO, NATO troops can now do what? Border Russia's border. which is an act of war. So, in a nutshell, Putin got in front of it. And what's going on is he's saying outright he's not trying to fight against the Ukrainian people, right? But the regime has compromised the security of Russia. That's what he's saying. And because of that, and there's other things too, when it comes to the certain lifestyles that the Western world has been pushing to demoralize countries that are under their power. Russia is in resistance of that. But yet a lot of that alternative stuff and all that destroy families and the future of families and tradition, well, guess what? A lot of that is pushed under their agendas. And Putin is against that also. So really what we can look forward to is more so if it goes the way Putin said he wants this thing to go, right? Regime change. Once the regime change happens, I guess they're looking to unite the USSR like it once was before it was dissolved, okay? Now, what does that mean? Well, I'll be discussing that and more in the academy, but really this is all proxy and posturing leading up to the Iranian conflict, okay? There's certain stakes that the NATO or strongholds they must have in that particular area before going to actual war. Now, when that war with Iran, I think that'll be probably a few more years, but it's more posturing than anything, okay? It's not a full-scale war going on right now. It's not World War III. It's more political and moving a guy out of the way that Russia deems is compromising their interest, okay? If Ukraine signs an agreement with NATO, it allows NATO troops now to come in to the Ukraine under the sovereign law of the NATO alliance. So Russia is not going to allow some troops to come right next door to him. That's going to compromise his interest. He has interest because why? A lot of their crops didn't grow correctly. A lot of their resources that's going on within Russia has depleted. And the last thing Russia is trying to do is lose any resources that are left to sustain Russia. Okay, so that's another reason why he's saying he's not going to allow this, because now NATO determines the trade of the resources that sustain Russia. Food, wheat, grain, all of that. Okay, so understand this is more political than anything. With Russia making a move saying we're preemptively getting in position so that no troops can actually come there and compromise compromise the border of Russia. But it eventually a lot of these things will escalate. I'm going to be talking about that in the academy this coming Wednesday, okay? Because a lot of information is censored here. And on either side, if you hear Russia, it's America's fault. If you hear America, it's Russia's fault. So the truth is somewhere in between, but you can only understand that through Bible prophecy. And I'm going to be breaking that down this coming Sunday. Now, before I bring Truman in, because I'm about to segue over to Patreon. I'm about to segue over to Patreon. So let me show you what's in store on Patreon today. What's in store on Patreon? One moment. Let's see. All right. The first article we'll cover and discuss through Blog Talk. The number is right there. 515-605-9327. A matter of fact, we're going straight to the lines while Truman is on the phone. While he's on the phone, we're going straight to the lines. Okay. The first article today we're going to discuss where a woman in Portland, Oregon, in Portland, Oregon. Let me get it here. Let's see. Let me pull it up here. A woman in Portland, Oregon has a testimony. A woman brings awareness to the Dovik 91 stuff and the side effects. And this is local news in Oregon that I think everyone should understand, because why? The information is out there, the CDC or whatever, the information is out there. But now, since the news have segued to war, we're no longer talking about what are the effects of the decisions we've made within the last 2 years. Well, I'm going to be talking about that and more in the Hebrew and Bible Academy, starting off with this video live on Patreon. Okay, we're going to discuss this. Okay, now this is, and I know it doesn't matter to a lot, but this is not a black person, but someone who apparently is a white person, a white American, a woman, giving her testimony of what she has gone through since making that choice. Okay, she was a fairly healthy, strong mother, wife, and let me emphasize. So I'm going to be talking about that and more and let you hear her testimony. This is live. This is live. When I say this is her actually being interviewed concerning her personal issues. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to segue into when the Bible tells us, the Bible teaches us, right? Let me go here. The Bible tells us what? And it identifies Satan's agents as, ye are forgers of lies, and you are physicians of no value. And it goes into that, right? And I'm going to talk about that, right? When it says ye are forgers of lies, Job 13:4, and ye are all physicians of no value. That means, in a nutshell, right, that the Bible gives us prophetic lies that would be associated with health. Ye are forgers of lies. So someone is forging a lie, and these physicians of no value, according to the Bible, if we're not careful to look into what goes into our body, can become more harmful than helpful. And it's really up to the individual to decide what's right for their temple. My body, my choice, right? So since it's my body, my choice, we understand in 1 Corinthians 3:16, and this is what we live by, according to our God, our Christ. According to our God, our Christ. Hence, this is what we live by. Understanding that our temple belongs to the government of Christ. 1 Corinthians 3:16 reads, let me read it here out of the King James Version. It reads, know ye not that ye is you, are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you. Now that spirit is up here. It's in the brain, the temple of God. This is why they call the inside between your brains here, between your ears, the temple. Right here, the temple. Because they understand that's where what? The spiritual connection between this terrain, this realm, and the spiritual realm lies. Okay? When you're in the bed, totally asleep, your mind is going all over the place. It's everywhere. It's still active. to let you know this is the power of consciousness, and this is what they're targeting. The spirit of the Most High connecting with those who believe in him. So when he says they are forgers of lies, physicians of no value, you must do the research on what type of neurological effects a lot of our choices creates, right? The neurological damage, the disruption of signal that can happen through what? What's consumed, what type of medications. So we have to, and all that. So we have to ask, when it comes to drugs or whatever the case is, what are the neurological side effects? That means the mental side effects. More and more and more people need to understand. You need to understand the fallout. You may cure something physical, but what good is that? Good is that if you lose your mind or your brain doesn't work correctly, and now your brain controls all your extremities, how your blood flows, all of that. So we need to more so go into the mental part of this and understand and know whether or not your mind is literally under chemical attack. It says right here, know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you? Right here. You can get a heart transplant, liver transplant, but not, you rarely see anyone transplanting brains because they know that's where the temple of God is. If any man defile the temple of God, 1 Corinthians 3:17, if any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy. So if you put things in your body that's against the laws within the book, yeah, that's spiritual suicide. If any man defile the temple of God, then shall God destroy. For the temple of God is holy, which temple ye are. The Most High God made these temples. So shouldn't he know what's best for them? And if that God tells us not to defile the temple, that's right. Obviously, he put rules in the book of what defiling the temples are. What is it? He put rules in the book what we should put in our temple to live with a better or a high spiritual and physical, what? You got it, quality of life. So if we disobey the laws in the book, the Most High says you shall surely die. Right? So it can have benefits like the tree of life opposed to the tree of good and evil. The tree of life had all benefits without any side effects that would lead to what? A lower quality of life or loss of it. But Adam and Eve seen that other tree and was coaxed by the devil to partake because of its benefits. It can make one wise. It can open up your mind to things to explore even outside of what you originally understood. It can make you a genius. Genius comes from the word genie, being taught by spirits. Okay? Genie is jinn. Jinn is spirit. So yes, you can get the knowledge. You can seem smart to everyone else. And not only that, the chemicals can make you actually feel good. Right? But what? There's a consequence. There's an exchange. You can't have all that without what? The side effects. So this is why we're going into this today. The Most High told us what to put in our bodies, and this is why I've invited Truman, the natural herbologist, on. That's right, on Patreon again. So he can let us know, well, what are the herbs the Most High invented before the pharmaceuticals, before all this? What were we using? Right? Now, he's not going to directly give a diagnosis or certain things of that nature. But if someone asks him a general question, like for instance, what did they do before modern medicine when people came down with asthma. Right? So people can ask general questions and he'll give you the answer. What did God say put in our temples before modern medicine? Okay, so you don't want to miss that on Patreon. And I'm about to segue there now, actually. At Patreon, A Gathering 144. So, I'm a Bible man. Okay, the herbs and all those things are out of my wheelhouse, right? But at least I understand the bare minimum when it comes to keeping my temple whole so that the Most High can continue to communicate through this temple. Okay, at least I can do is look into the Levitical law, Leviticus 11, and I can find out the animals that are clean or unclean, right? Unclean animals are poison. Okay? Period. They're poison. Just because they don't say poison, common sense will tell you it's poison for man. The Most High told Adam and Eve, if you take of that plant or you do something I tell you not to do, you will surely die. So this is why what? Obesity, high blood pressure, all these other things, because we take the quick fix, not understanding the long-term consequences for it. So at least the Most High have given me some understanding out of the Bible to understand simple, clean, unclean. Leviticus 11. If I'm going to eat foods for my nourishment and ask the Most High to nourish me while praying over this food, the least I can do is to respect what he told me to bless. Right? By not diving into unclean foods, which leads to death. It may taste good. It may feel good while you're eating it. But your body is telling you something else. Your body tells you after eating whether or not you're living from your food or dying from it. So at least I have the bare minimum. Leviticus, the 11th chapter. If I am to consume meat, I understand exactly what meats not to eat. Right? Unclean. That's life. Disobedience, death. And don't try to bring Christ into it and say, well, Christ said make all food unclean. He had made all things common or unclean. Or bring in Paul's Peter's interaction in Acts, the 10th chapter with Cornelius, when the Most High was preparing an Israelite to actually convey the information of truth extended to Gentiles. Don't try to use that chapter to claim that God said eat unclean food. It's disingenuous and it's a lie. That was a vision the Most High gave Peter so that Peter would not what? Turn Cornelius away. Because he have never sat down with a Gentile and conveyed the information Christ gave him. Okay? So let's make it clear. That's disingenuous to lie and try to use Christ to do so. And now we're trying now to fix all of what we have broken through our diets and just living carelessly, not realizing that what? This temple, this body will be the only one you get. Period. So my Patreon loyalists are waiting for me, and even though this is not as it's not as charged up as the Academy, because the Academy, it's no holds barred. It's our own platform, so we can really, say what we want without biting our tongues. But still, I look forward to about 30 minutes, 40 minutes to an hour each week with our Patreon members, our loyalists who have followed us since the beginning, come over, they get on the phone calls, and we just have family talk. We conversate, right? It's a little bit more laid back than our Wednesday class, in which we keep things within the scope. And it's really an opportunity to help one another, to hear what's going on in this area, that area, and how are you dealing with this? What, and you know what my answer always is here. What does God say? Let's not violate our conscience. Let's do what the Most High say for life, right? But let me put that Patreon there again. Patreon, A Gathering 144. And in between, we'll see if we can get that white noise out that came through that conversation with Truman, because the sound has to be right, okay? So come on in. All right, come on in. Patreon, we're coming. Patreon /A Gathering 144. And the discussion will be healing the temple of God. Special guest Truman Berst ask the questions. With that, I'm going to say, stay prayed up, sin not. We will soon see Zion. And I'll see y'all tomorrow in our Sabbath lesson. Shalom.
We've been through so much pain. Life took us separate ways. Both did some hurtful things, but it's not over. You know that we both care. So can we forgive and forget?